Eli Winterbaum and Eliza Syme with BetterCloud. We'll be taking you and showing you a presentation about FlashPanel and FlashPanel Enterprise. We're going to wait just one more minute. I got a few chats from people saying they were having issues getting into the GoToWebinar. So we'll be back in about 60 seconds. Hi everybody, thanks for joining us today. We had a few more people sneak in at the last second there. My name is Eli Winterbaum, and I'm here with Eliza Syme, and today we'll be showing you about FlashPanel Enterprise, and actually we're just going to hit the record button here just so that we can post this later on our website. All right, we're all set. So wherever you're calling from around the world, hopefully you've installed FlashPanel already, and now you're trying to make a good estimation of what you should be doing next. And so today, Eliza and I are going to show you the differences between the basic and enterprise edition, as well as some other important information about the application and our team. Just a little agenda here. We'll show you the background, a little bit about BetterCloud and FlashPanel, also some key features and functionality, as well as a little insight into our roadmap moving forward. Next, we have information about pricing. We've received a lot of questions throughout the past couple of weeks about pricing, so we'll do our best to answer all those questions. And then finally, questions from you will be answered by us. So if you do have any questions at all, please ask them right now and throughout the presentation. On the right-hand side of your screen, there should be a GoToWebinar control panel. Click on questions, and feel free to test that out by asking us some questions. We'll be able to respond during the presentation, and then we'll take some questions at the end and answer those for everybody. So a little bit about BetterCloud. Our company is made up of 25 full-time developers, as well as another 15 of us here working on the operations side. So we are truly a product and software company. We're really dedicated and focused on Google Apps. Everything we do is for Google Apps, and we also build everything on the Google Cloud platform, including Google App Engine and Google Cloud Compute we're beginning to experiment with. So some really important things about the company. So obviously, your Google Apps information is very important to you, the fact that you keep it safe and secure. That's part of the reason that we leverage all the Google platform, and also why we spent the time and energy and resources to become SSA 16 certified, US EU Safe Harbor, and Trustee certified as well. So we do have the proper protocols in place to take care of all the information that is coming in and out of Google servers. A little bit about our adoption over time. We launched in the Google Apps Marketplace it's coming in on 15 months ago. And we started before that with a private beta with 50 users. Then we, over the past 14 months, 22,000 organizations have installed and are using FlashPanel. So really quite an amazing number. At those organizations, there's more than 14 million end users that are using FlashPanel, and lastly, 133 countries. So, truly global. It's been amazing to speak with everyone from around the world, understand different needs of what you need for Google Apps in your industry and in your country. So a little bit about our roadmap and where we came from and where we're going. So when we first launched, you can see these logos and symbols here. At first we had the user profile, ability to edit profiles for one user at a time. Then Groups Management, a vast improvement over the Google Apps Control Panel and Groups Manager. Also, OU management as well as shared contacts. And lastly, something that everybody really enjoys is our tool section, which features the Gmail settings, ability to apply filters and labels and signatures to users other than yourself. Over the past couple of months, we've added Google Drive, Google Sites, and Google Calendar management to the services stack here. So you can see that we added more services. In addition, we added reporting across the board, as well as ability to do things in bulk. And you can see in the future, we'll be adding a lot more functionality, which we'll get to shortly. We're happy to share that with you today. So what can you expect from the product? Really this product is a product for a system administrator and his or her help desk team to truly manage and secure and automate the Google Apps Enterprise Suite. So next I'm going to hand it off to Eliza. She is going to show you a little bit more information in depth about the different key features that you should look for within FlashPanel. So again, if you have any questions at all, please ask those through the questions panel. Only received a couple of questions so far.
Hi everyone. So I'm going to go through about 6 or 7 features that hopefully you're already familiar with and have been utilizing so far within the application, but otherwise these are the largest value adds of the application. So if you haven't checked any of these out, then this will provide a little bit more information. So the first feature, this is along the lines of setting up automations and saving you time. So you can create a standardized email signature for your domain, and you can do that using our WYSIWYG editor, or create your own, or use a template, and then input information from user profiles so everyone has a tailored email signature. And then you can apply that to specific users, groups, OUs, or everyone, depending on the type of signature, and if you wanted to have something separate for different departments within your domain and maybe use it for a marketing or advertising tool. And you can also apply signatures one time, but also on a schedule. So if you wanted to push that out maybe every day or every week to just make sure that everyone's information is always up to date, then you can enforce that and then let it run and not have to worry about it again. Bulk updating is throughout the application, so you can do this for users, groups, and shared contacts. And basically the idea behind this is to allow you to manage all of your profiles and groups in one interface. So rather than having to click into every user's profile and modify maybe a new phone number, or if you're restructuring organizational units, you can just open up the spreadsheet, make all of your changes at once, and use shortcuts and formulas. And then upon re-importing that into FlashPanel, all of your user updates will be made, and you can also create new accounts directly from this as well. Another policy that you can enable within FlashPanel is to enforce passwords. So this can be maybe just a one-time thing if you want to change everyone's passwords or require that change once a year, or you can set this up on a schedule as well. So if the best practice is for everyone to reset their password every 3 months or every 6 months, you can set that and then customize the policy based on who it's applying to. So maybe your executive OU would have a bit more of a frequent password change request, and otherwise people would be fine every 6 months or a year. This is a feature that we have recently really enhanced. So you can create an access control which allows you to give delegated admin rights to different users. And doing so will let you, maybe there's a manager who wants control over their entire OU, or you're setting this by location. So you can give someone scoped admin rights to just their department, and they'll be able to manage all of their users and audit their users' documents. So this is very granular and applies to the entire application. So you can break this down to view-only rights or full edit and and modification rights too, depending how your organization is structured, and hopefully will take a little bit of the responsibility off of you as the super admin. This feature is within our reporting engine, so we have a number of canned reports as well as the fully customizable reports builder, but a number of the canned reports are very helpful and often requested, such as the email forwarding report. And by running this report, you can determine which of your users have been forwarding their email to a personal account or just another email address, which can be a security concern maybe after they leave the organization and have a record of all of these emails somewhere else. So this report will give you the visibility as to who's doing that and allow you to take action. This is one of our top security features, so the entire Drive component of FlashPanel, specifically being able to audit documents and just see exactly how things are being shared and with whom. So this is a view of the dashboard, and within the Drive Explorer, that's where you can view every document created by any user, and you can utilize the filters to really narrow down the results and then take action. So if you click into any individual document, then you can modify the owner, the collaborators, everyone's different access rights. You can add additional collaborators, and you can change the sharing settings. Also within Drive, you can create sharing policies. So rather than going into the Explorer and modifying documents one by one after they've already been shared, you can actually create a policy that will enforce that and kind of moderate all of your documents for you. So this can be set up by on a user basis, OU, or for everyone. And maybe different people and departments have need to share in different ways just based on the nature of their role. Maybe they're working with contractors or needing to share externally often. So you can just toggle on or off that type of sharing. And then you can also set up compliance. So if you want the document to be automatically corrected, if it's in violation, or just someone gets an email, and you can choose to empower your end users rather than automatically correcting. And here's how you would monitor. You can view the way that your sharing policies are configured, and then you can also see the performance, so how many documents are being flagged and corrected, and what you might want to have a second look at. So those were a lot of our most popular features in the application today, and as Eli mentioned, we have a number of things planned both by the end of the year and for the next year as well, but here are some of our top features that are currently in development and will be out by the end of the year. So this is what our shared contacts wireframes look like. So we're revamping this feature, and kind of we've been collecting feedback over the past couple of months, and now we're putting all of those suggestions into practice. So in the next couple of months, you'll be able to fully customize your shared contacts and create specific sharing groups. So today you can share contacts with everyone, but in the future you'll be able to just designate specific teams or departments or mixed groups of whatever kind, and just have contacts shared with those people. You can also utilize tags to group the contacts. So right now you can create tags as a way to label, but the tags will soon be functional. So you could say this person is a vendor, and because of that, they're automatically added to that vendor group, which is shared with this subset of users. You'll also be able to allow end users to edit shared contacts, and maybe some people just have their own database and they would like to have the responsibility of keeping that up to date rather than delegating it to the administrator. They'll be able to go into FlashPanel and maintain their own lists as well. Google Plus is another feature that's coming pretty soon. So this is going within the Google Apps menu as a part of our vision to expand across the entire suite. And you'll be able to view every Google Plus post by any user in your domain. You can view the full content to see if something is work appropriate or representing your organization correctly. And you can also create policies, so you can determine, maybe disallow public sharing by people in your organization, and you can review those violations and alert the end users maybe to take them down. The final feature that I'll mention is third-party apps auditing. So this is something that we're really excited about, and you'll be able to view every application that's been installed by users on your domain. We're going to have a categorization system so you can tell if the app is intended for maybe productivity or scheduling, or it's a game that could be distracting. So based on those categories and other information we'll provide, such as the risk level associated and all of the access that the app is requesting, you can determine if that's approved or maybe flagged or banned, and then revoke it from your users if you choose to do so. And there's also going to be a lot of other information, maybe if you wanted to take a different approach and use this feature to recommend apps. If there's something that a lot of people seem to have installed and it checks out pretty well and seems like a helpful tool, then you can recommend that to your users, and maybe it'll help with their day-to-day productivity. So those were our features, our major features scheduled before the end of the year, and we're always making enhancements and doing small releases as well. Those are just kind of the big ticket items. So now I'll pass it back over to Eli, and he can go through a little bit about our pricing model and kind of how we came up with that, and how the feature list breaks down between the two different versions.
Thanks, Eliza. So we got a couple of questions that came in. I did my best to answer them as they did, but some people were asking, is this part of Enterprise? Is this part of Basic? So that's what this section is going to cover, actually. So just again about our vision for the company and for the product is we found in the Google Apps Marketplace that there were lots of what we're calling point solutions, the ability to manage the directory, ability for email signatures to be created and managed, managing drive, site security, third-party apps. These are all kind of one-off features that would solve a single problem with a single solution. We had the bigger idea of bundling all these together and creating a true solution as opposed to a point solution. So across the board, a team that keeps up to date with all of Google's changes and continues to innovate by creating new tools and automation and security insights just for you. So you can see from this graph, these are actual prices from different applications in the marketplace, and bundling those all together could be the same price as at the actual per user per year for a Google Apps business account. So that's how we came up with our pricing. Some people say, is Basic sufficient? Should I use Enterprise? If you truly don't know, you can ask yourself these questions or these statements. So a company that utilizes the Google Apps Suite in its entirety, not just using Mail, not just Calendar, not just Drive, but all of them. Also, if you find yourself stumbling in the admin panel or the control panel, that's a pretty clear sign that the number of users you have is too many for the admin panel to really cut it. Also, great customer support. We have a dedicated support team to manage FlashPanel. So as we all know, if you try and get Google on the phone, it's pretty difficult. So it is nice to have somebody to contact, and we can be those experts. Also, if you're in an industry or your particular organization demands high security of documents or calendar sharing, or even sites, something that you would need FlashPanel for. And lastly, if you employ a help desk, this would probably mean that you're of a certain size and you need to delegate responsibility, which includes access control, the ability to set up a help desk and create delegated admins to do particular jobs other than a super admin. So here are some of the differences. One of the questions that came in again was about how what was in Basic, what was in Enterprise, and these are specific examples of those. So if you want to update users one by one in Basic, no problem. In the Enterprise, you get to do it in bulk. Apply email signatures, schedule signature policies to have them enforced on a daily basis. Change a user's password, absolutely can do that with Basic, but if you want to enforce a password policy, that's an Enterprise feature. If you just want to view the documents, as opposed to being able to change the sharing settings, also in bulk. Creating shared contacts versus view contacts on mobile devices, and even create groups of contacts for different types of users and groups. manage the primary domain, manage subdomains, and multiple. And finally, running canned reports or recommended reports first, creating your own custom analytics with scheduled reporting emails. So I hope that covered a lot of the major questions. Although we did have some questions come through, please feel free to continue asking your questions. We'll do our best to ask them, but I'll ask one that came in here for Eliza. So someone had a question about different pricing available. Someone was actually a university and was wondering what the cost was for a university.
Yeah, so for schools, we've given an 80% discount to the list price. So you can visit flashpanel.com/pricing and see that listed on the website too. But the price for schools is $2 per user per year as opposed to the list price of $10. And nonprofits we're offering a 50% discount as well, so that would be $5 per user per year.
Great. We had a question about if you had policies created, whether it be an email signature applied or sharing policies, and you decide not to go ahead with Enterprise, what will happen to all those scheduled items?
So any type of scheduled policy will discontinue to apply, but you'll still have, so in the example of a signature, you would still have the signature saved, and your users would still have that, appended to their emails. It's just not going to continuously reinforce the signature. So, you could set it and forget it, and if no one changes their signature within Gmail, then it would remain. And you can always go in and apply signatures one time.
Someone wanted, it was James, who wanted a little bit more information on how it worked with subdomains, or is it OUs? What's possible in the basic, what's possible in the enterprise?
Yeah, sure. So those are two different things, but for subdomains, those are considered, those would be within the enterprise version. So multi-domain management is taking into effect, your primary domain as well as any subdomains. And in order to manage your subdomains within the same account, that's an enterprise feature. Being said, you'll still be able to manage organizational units and groups and the full directory for your primary domain within BASIC.
We had another question about specifically purchasing FlashPanel, not exactly how to do it, but in terms of the billing, whether if their numbers fluctuate, they add 10 users, remove 10, how are we going to go about that? And also, is it on a monthly, quarterly, yearly? How are payments made?
Yeah, so the pricing is per user per year, and we're charging on a yearly basis. So you'll pay if you go into the app today and pay. You'll be charged for the full year, and then we'll make any adjustments the following year when it comes time to renew. As far as user fluctuation, we're a little bit lenient if you're just adding a couple of users, just a few new employees throughout the year. And if that's the case, then your pricing won't change. You're locked in at that yearly rate, and then we'll just catch you up with the new numbers the following year. And that stands unless there's some kind of a huge addition of users. So you double in size or some other significant jump, then we would need to catch you up sometime in the middle of the year. But if it's just a couple, give or take, that'll be fine.
Someone had a question specifically about third-party apps auditing. It was a two-part question. One, when is that scheduled to be released? And two, is that part of the enterprise, or is that a separate payment?
Sure. So I believe that's scheduled for probably around December. It's definitely coming before the end of the year. I'm not sure the exact date. And as far as it'll be, the majority of the feature will be within Enterprise. I think that there will still be some kind of light version. Maybe you'll be able to view the listing of applications that are installed within BASIC, like we're doing for other features. But I'm not sure. I'm not positive about that. So we'll provide more details as the feature is closer to being released. But that would be my guess.
Just to reiterate that, so there's no level above Enterprise. The third-party apps auditing, as well as all the other features, will be included in the Enterprise version, the $10 per user per year. And someone had a question about what constitutes a user. Is it active, suspended, unused licenses? How do we go about that, and how come the pricing is per user?
Yeah, so a user is defined as any active or suspended accounts. We're just pulling the number from the amount of Gmail accounts and Google Apps licenses that you're currently utilizing. So it's not based on your max number of licenses, those that are available but unused, but rather active and suspended users on the domain currently. And we came up with that, and it's priced based on a total number of users, because in order to have the tool to manage your users and update their contact information and apply a signature and audit their documents, the application needs to pull in all of their account info and all of that information on a user basis. So that's where our costs are incurred also, based on the information gathering and things like that. So so that's why it's for the entire domain, not just administrative users, and that's how we will come up with that number.
Okay, a few more questions came in, so we're happy to answer them. So someone was wondering, I only want to use email signatures and enforce that. Is it possible to buy just a one-off feature?
Right now, we're not planning on offering a la carte features, and this is mostly because we think the benefit of having all of these tools within one interface and within one product is that you don't have to continuously buy different applications for every different task that you need to achieve. So being said, if you are really just using one feature, then chances are the basic version will be sufficient. And otherwise, I encourage you to explore and see what else is in the application. And we hope that as maybe you're newer to Google Apps, you're not utilizing the entire suite. So as you deploy more of the suite and have more tasks to take care of within the Google Control Panel, FlashPanel will hopefully grow with your needs as well.
Okay, I think we answered a lot of them. If we didn't answer them, or I said I'd follow up, we'll be following up over email. But what are sort of the next steps if people do want to move forward here?
Sure. So everyone is in a 30-day trial. I think that we're about halfway through at this point, depending on when you installed. But take the full time and poke around the application and see what exactly falls in which version. So you can hopefully make your decision a little bit better that way, and also see which features you're currently using. And also, if you want more specifics on features, you can go to flashpanel.com/pricing, where there's a full breakdown of every single feature in the application, as well as some of the newer features that we're planning to add. And like Eli mentioned before, everything that we add the full version will be in the enterprise version, but there will be some kind of functionality accessible to basic as well. And you can also visit our knowledge base if you're curious about specific features or have a question or need some help. That's support.bettercloud.com, and there's an article on every feature, and you can submit tickets and get chat support that way too. And finally, if you think of any other specific questions, take down our email addresses. It's just Eli or Eliza at bettercloud.com, and we're happy to work with you specifically or answer questions that way. If you're a large organization over 10,000 users or so, you can email enterprise@bettercloud.com to talk about pricing for your domain and things like that. And here's also our phone number if you have a quick question that you'd like to get in touch that way. So we encourage you to ask us any questions and email us later on if you think of anything. We have a lot of different ways to get in touch, so we really like hearing from you and explaining the different versions. And if you would like to get together with your team or your manager or whoever and go through a demo or some specific functionality, we're happy to do that too. So so just let us know if there's any way that we can help, and hopefully this has been a little bit informative as far as making your decision. Otherwise, thanks everyone for